The rebellion in Upper Canada ended with the defeat and surrender of the insurgent forces at Montgomery's Tavern on December 7, 1837. About 500 rebels were gathered up and placed in the Toronto jail. The majority of them would be released from jail after several years following a guarantee of loyalty to the ruling government. Only 2 would be hanged. Time was quite long for the rest of the men, in such crowded and restricted conditions in the Toronto jail, as they waited in limbo for their trials. Several months after being incarcerated, a number of them began to pass the time by carving small wooden boxes. Looking at images of the boxes, it appeared that they must have written on them with pen and ink, inscribing words to loved ones, words of faith, and political statements, likely making use of pocket knives they must have been allowed to keep. The result was attractive, well-proportioned little trinket boxes crafted from scraps of firewood. 2 of these boxes, now described as convict or prisoner or rebellion boxes, were carved by a man named George Barclay Jr. Son of a Baptist minister, George Barclay Jr. emigrated from Scotland in 1816, settling in the Pickering area near Toronto. Barclay was arrested December 17, 1937, and after a period of almost a year in the Toronto jail, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison and sent on to Kingston Penitentiary. After serving a total of about 15 months of his sentence, he was released in March of 1839. An article about prisoners' boxes written in Pathmaster, a publication of Pickering Township Historical Society, states, George Barclay, an associate of Peter Matthews, was arrested near Montgomery's Tavern, tried, sentenced to 7 years imprisonment, later pardoned. After his release, he taught school in Pickering. 2 daughters born before 1838 were named Jane and Nancy. In 1848, George moved his family to a farm in Lobo Township, west of London, Ontario. One historical source indicates that on his release, Barclay became a school teacher in Pickering. Another source indicates that he was banished at that time from the province for the rest of his life. One of these boxes was recently presented to the Lambton Heritage Museum by Ron Van Horn. An historical source indicates that Barclay's daughter moved to Lambton soon after he was captured and imprisoned. The words on this box read, Though I be doomed in tyrant's chains to loiter to the tomb, my mind will still, while life remains, be placed on you and home. And on the back of the box it says, Beauty is a flower that fades, soon it falls in time's cold shade. Virtue is a flower more gay, that never dies nor fades away.